This change is going to make dungeons so much better. So, Hypixel Skyblock recently released a new design thread, and that is Design Thread 5. Design Thread 5 had a lot of awesome things in it, and we're going to be covering that and a bit of Design Thread 4 in today's video. The first major change, which is going to be a huge thing for dungeons, is actually going to be related to Dungeon Party Finder. People don't really like Dungeon Party Finder. They've said that Dungeon Party Finder is fine. I disagree. I think most people would disagree as well. It's pretty horrible, to be honest, but they are going to work on it. The new feature is that you will be able to just queue in instantly with people that are matching class to the floor, meet what they call the floor's class distribution, and they're going to match you with other players of your level, potentially your Skyblock level, which is a new system that will be added to the game by that time. They are also planning to do a bunch of dungeon quality of life changes. Only 60% of the total secrets will be needed to get all of the score. Every 1% of secrets found above 60% will instead grant extra Catacombs XP, which is going to be huge for people that are grinding that. To compensate, the speed score will be harder to max out based on each floor's average speed. The first completion XP bonus will instead be given on the first 5 completion, and the first 5 successful runs of the day will each grant 40% extra XP. So that will make people a lot more motivated to just do 5 runs, go off, and do 5 runs the next day rather than just having a full day of grinding. And they're also going to fix the way parties warp in and out of dungeons by the end. So hopefully those changes are pretty good for the game. The next change actually has to do with Maddox the Slayer and his relationship with the new update. In fact, they have a new update that they're considering adding to Slayers. So they think that every time you kill a next Slayer, the next one will be a percentage stronger and provide you with better odds for rare rewards and extra XP. This is huge for grinding those really rare Slayer drops, and that along with the RNGesus meter could really help you out in getting some better drops. Honestly, I think that's great for making money in Hypixel Skyblock personally, as someone who covers that a lot. Slayers can be a good method, and this just seems like it'll make them better, which is pretty good for everyone. And eventually, you'll limit after the year, and they'll also get X% harder to do, so that's all you'll hit your limit, and they'll be reset every Skyblock year. So, this honestly sounds like a pretty cool theory to me. I think that it would be pretty awesome, and I really hope they implement this. This sounds very, very fun. And, well, these guys could be saying goodbye. Fairy Souls are being basically removed. Fairy Souls are still going to grant some things, but they will not grant stat boosts in Skyblock 1.0. They don't know why the fairies decided to die in odd places, but finding them should not be mandatory. They are actually going to make them instead reward Skyblock XP, stuff like extra storage space, still make them useful to unlock, but not mandatory for every player to do to advance through the game, like they have been in the past. Honestly, I think this is a pretty good change, except for Time Dio and people that make Fairy Soul videos. But besides that, this is a great change for anyone that wants to basically have the ability to not have to go on a multi-hour quest to find some random souls hidden across the island. I did find it not fun at all, but looking back on it, it really helped me get to know the map, so I guess you can say that it was sort of helpful, but honestly, it takes way too long. So, I think this is overall a pretty positive change. They also want to expand the boss collection system that they have in dungeons to the rest of the game. That implements with the Slayer stuff as well. That seems pretty good. And they also want to do progression. They want to improve the whole progression of the game. And one feature of that is making the player or mob levels actually make sense. Right now they don't make sense. They're going to implement a formula for the amount of damage and health the mob has. That will be based on what it actually gets. And one more thing, museums and exotic armors. So, exotic armor might be dead. Colored armor is going to replace exotic armors, as you're going to be able to get colored dyes from multiple mobs, according to them, but exotic armors will still be different because they won't have a little icon saying that they're from new colored dyes. And there will also be museums where you can store your rare items and get extra points for having people visit them, maybe some tips and stuff, and that's just kind of a cool thing, like museum islands that we've seen so far. Hopefully like, you customize them. That would be pretty cool with nice builds and stuff. And one thing about that is the fact that you will not be able to sell the item once it's in your museum. So that is going to be a big factor for people that are just collectors rather than people who just have stupid amounts of money. And telekinesis is finally going to become just a general Skyblock perk, no longer an enchant, so goodbye Rusty. Oh, never mind, Rusty actually does have a use. I just remember this, and it is actually going to be that he will now be able to sell you quest items that you lost in the past. So that's pretty good. Stuff like the Rogue Sword, Campfire Badge, all that stuff, pretty good. So if you did enjoy this video, please leave a like and subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.